stop.
That check is certified.
Not anymore. You can't tear a customer's document. I just did. Put both pieces down. Did she really do that? Everyone stay back. $1 million and you expect me to believe this?
Read the documents.
The security mark's passed.
Stay out reading before out of this.
You stop reading before the answer.
His papers are right there.
Nobody escort him out.
For what violation? Has he refused an instruction?
He completed verification. Enough. State the rule I broke.
The reason is standing in front of you. My identification.
Put that away.
The issuing bank confirmation.
You are not an audit at noon.
Neither are you.
There is no deadline now.
Mr. Sir, are you all right? You know him?
You know him? Why did you call him sir?
Preserve the check first.
I saved the scan.
Lock the document room. Doing it now. Save every camera angle. The deadline is noon.
The scan is backed up. And that was not in the file.
Send nothing. Delete nothing. Delete nothing. Sir, what do you want us to do? Preserve everything.
Who are you?
You should already know.
The account seal just opened. What does it say?
It says this never should have happened.
Wait.
The check tore with a soft, terrible sound. $3 million, ripped in half. While a crowded bank lobby watched a black man stand perfectly still. Why did the manager smile as if she had just exposed a fraud? Why did no one speak when she ordered security to escort him out? And why, seconds later, did the bank's regional president stop at the doorway, turn pale, and address the man in the worn navy jacket as, "Sir?" He had come to keep a promise made beside a hospital bed. Instead, he was treated like a criminal, but the papers in his leather folder carried a truth that could shake the entire bank. Stay to the end, because what he asked for afterward changed far more than one career. Arthur Bell stopped inside the glass doors, rain on his coat. "Mr. Grant?" The security guard's hand froze near Elijah's elbow. Arthur crossed the lobby. "Step away from him, Calvin." Victoria straightened. "Arthur, this is a suspected fraud matter. I followed procedure." "No," Elena said before she could stop herself. One half of the check slid from the counter and settled near Elijah's shoe. The other remained between Victoria's fingers. Arthur looked from the paper to Elijah's worn navy jacket, then to the customers. "Sir," he said, "did anyone touch your documents?" The teller scanned the front. The manager took the original. "My identification is still on that desk." Arthur turned. "No one leaves the service area. Lock the document room. Preserve every camera angle, workstation log, call record, and access change." "You can't lock employees in," Victoria said. "I can suspend operations while records are secured." Rain hissed against the windows. The lobby smelled of wet wool and burnt coffee. Behind the teller wall, a printer kept clicking. Noah Kim appeared from the corridor, pale. "Arthur, there's an account alert." "What kind?" "Restricted governance profile. I closed it." "Reopen it." Victoria lowered her voice. "We should discuss this privately." "We will, after the evidence is protected." Elijah bent, picked up the fallen half, and placed it beside the other piece. "Use an evidence sleeve," he told Elena. Her fingers shook against the plastic. "Yes, sir." Victoria gripped the counter. "He threatened this branch with consequences." "I said a deadline was approaching," Elijah replied. "Those are not the same thing." Arthur raised his phone. "Dana, initiate an emergency preservation order for Briar Glen Central, immediately." Calvin stepped back and removed his cap. "Mr. Grant, I didn't know." Elijah looked at him. "You knew I asked not to be touched." Calvin lowered his eyes. Near the entrance, Ruth Coleman pressed her phone to her chest. "I saw everything. I wrote down the time." "Customers are not part of an internal review," Victoria said. "They are when it happens in front of them," Arthur answered. The clock above the counter changed to 11:17. Elijah checked his phone. 3 missed calls from Camille. Beneath them waited one message. "The library is full." "Are we still doing this?" Arthur noticed. "What happens at noon?" "The matching commitment expires." How much? Another 3 million. The color left Arthur's face. Victoria whispered, "That wasn't in the file." It was in the letter you did not finish reading. Cold air moved across the lobby. Elijah buttoned his jacket with stiff fingers and set his leather portfolio on the counter. "I am not asking you to protect me because of who I am," he said. "Preserve what happened because of who you believed I was." No one answered. Arthur faced the frosted service doors. "Close them." The magnetic locks clicked one after another. Elijah typed to Camille, "Keep everyone there. I'm still coming." 6 hours earlier, before the torn paper and the word "Sir" changed every face in the room, he had been standing alone in his kitchen with Renee's note beneath his hand. At 5:12 a.m., the kettle clicked off. Before dawn reached the kitchen windows, Elijah Grant stood barefoot on cold tile, one hand around a chipped blue mug, the other on a folded note. Rain streaked the glass. Beyond it, the fields lay black. "Elijah, don't let what hurt us become the only thing we leave behind." A dried magnolia petal slipped between the lines and landed beside his wedding ring. "You always knew where to hide the hard part," he murmured. His phone vibrated. "Dad?" Camille's voice came through with chairs scraping behind her. "You're awake." "I usually am before you call." "That is not an answer." He turned the mug handle right, the way Renee used to leave it. "What do you need?" "The library confirmed the East Room. The applicants are coming at 6. The matching partner wants confirmation before noon." "I have the check." "You said that yesterday." "It is in the portfolio." Camille exhaled. $3 million should not live in a bag that smells like tractor oil. It smells like cedar. It smells like every barn you've entered. His mouth almost lifted. Then he checked the clock. 5:16. "Dad," she said softly, "today is 2 years." "I know." "Then don't disappear into paperwork." The refrigerator motor stopped, leaving the rain louder. "I'll make the deposit," he said. "You make sure there's a seat for every family." "For you too?" He folded Renee's note. "For me too." In the mudroom, his navy jacket hung from a brass hook. He brushed straw from one sleeve, slid the certified check into a folder, and placed it inside the worn portfolio with his identification, tax records, land sale agreement, and matching letter. At 6:03, headlights swept across the porch. Camille came in carrying 2 paper cups and a box tied with twine. She had Renee's quick stride and tucked curls behind one ear when worried. "You said you were going straight to town." "I am." "You're wearing work boots." "They are clean." "They are honest. Banks prefer polished." He took a cup. Cinnamon and coffee warmed the room. "What's in the box?" "Name cards." She pulled out a final card. Renee Grant. Elijah did not reach for it. Camille set it beside the magnolia petal. "I thought we could leave one chair open." His thumb pressed into the cup lid. She would say the chair should go to someone who needs it. She would also say grief is not a scheduling problem. "You practiced that line." "All night." The porch gutter rattled as the rain strengthened. "If the transfer misses noon," Camille said, "the partner walks. We lose the clinic placements and tuition guarantees." "It won't miss." "You sound like you're promising Mom." "No." He lifted the portfolio. "I'm promising you." At 6:41, he locked the farmhouse. Camille waited under the porch light while he checked the door twice, then tucked Renee's note into his shirt pocket. "Call me from the bank." "I'll call when it's done." She watched him step into the rain. That is exactly what people say before something goes wrong. Through the kitchen window, the magnolia petal remained visible under light. Then he drove toward Briar Glen, unaware that across town someone was deciding what a $3 million customer should look like. At 7:18 a.m., Victoria Sloan moved the brass brochure holder half an inch left. "Again," she said. Elena Ruiz stopped polishing the glass. "It's centered. It looks centered." The lobby smelled of lemon cleaner and coffee. Rain darkened the sidewalk. Chairs faced one angle, pens rested beneath their chains, and bruised orchid petals faced the wall. Noah Kim came from the vault corridor with a tablet. "The regional visit is still unconfirmed. Arthur Bell does not drive 90 minutes to admire our carpet." Victoria aligned the brochures. "If he comes, this branch looks perfect." Each time the doors opened, she measured coat, shoes, posture. Elena put away the cloth. "We have 4 appointments before 10. Move anyone complicated to tomorrow. We can't move account holders because they take time. We can manage the room." Noah's tablet chimed. Large certified instruments now require a second reviewer before any restriction. "I know. It also says appearance, occupation, and branch familiarity cannot replace document review." The heating vent clicked. Victoria picked a thread from her sleeve. "Send it to staff." "It already went." "Then stop reading it aloud." At 7:46, she gathered the tellers. "We lost 2 premium households last quarter. Today, I want speed, discretion, and no scenes. If an instrument looks unusual, bring it to me." Elena lifted her hand. "What makes it unusual?" "The circumstances." "That isn't in the manual." A teller beside her stared at the floor. Victoria stepped closer. "You are 28 and have been here 11 months. Do not confuse memorizing policy with understanding risk." "Risk still has to be documented." Noah shifted. "She's right." Victoria turned. He added, "Technically." The word landed harder than disagreement. Victoria followed Noah into her glass office. Elena watched her point toward the lobby, while Noah answered with small movements. At Terminal 3, Elena printed the guidance and folded it beneath her keyboard. The page was still warm. At 8:32, Victoria learned Arthur would arrive before noon. She read the email twice, then removed a staff photograph because one corner had faded. "Who is on walk-in review?" "I am," Elena said. "Route anything above 200,000 to Noah." Noah looked up. "The limit is 500. Today it is 2. Did compliance approve that?" "I am the branch manager." "That wasn't my question." The doors opened for a delivery driver, letting cold air roll across the floor. "You want my position someday?" Victoria asked after he left. Noah's jaw tightened. "Then learn the difference between protecting procedure and protecting the branch." At 9:57, a dark pickup turned into the lot. The driver stayed inside for several seconds, one hand on a leather portfolio. When he stepped out, he was a tall black man in a navy work jacket, gray at his temples, rain on his shoulders. Victoria followed Elena's gaze. "Walk in?" "No appointment." Victoria smoothed the silver pin at her throat. "Keep it simple." Elena touched the folded guidance under her keyboard as the man crossed toward the glass doors. The clock changed to 10:01, and Victoria moved into his path before he had taken 3 steps inside. "Can I help you?" Victoria's smile arrived before her eyes did. Elijah wiped rain from his portfolio. "I need to deposit a certified check into an existing account." "How much?" $3 million. A printer stopped. Victoria studied his wet boots and faded navy jacket. "Do you have an appointment?" "No." "For that amount, appointments are recommended." "Recommended is not required." Elena rose from Terminal 3. "I can begin the intake." Victoria stepped aside. "Verify everything." Elijah placed the check beneath the glass. Elena's fingertips paused over the embossed seal. "This is certified." Yes. And payable to the Renee Grant Rural Nursing Fund? Yes. He passed through his license and account letter. The papers carried a faint cedar smell. Elena scanned them, entered the account number, and watched green markers appear. Your profile is active. I need to confirm the issuing institution and source documents. Victoria leaned over her shoulder. What source? Proceeds from agricultural land, Elijah said. How much land? Enough to produce the check. A customer at the next window turned. We ask questions when funds appear inconsistent with a customer profile, Victoria said. Elijah looked at the clock above the counter. 10:41. My profile includes the cooperative, the sale, and the fund documents. Please follow the written procedure. Elena opened an attachment. The sale letter is here. Victoria reached past her and closed it. Not until we establish who we're dealing with. You have my identification. I have a license. And an account history. We are still establishing identity. Rain tapped harder against the windows. Cold air moved beneath the partition. Behind Elijah, Ruth Coleman shifted her cane. He gave you what you asked for. Victoria turned. Ma'am, please let us work. I am. Elijah kept his eyes forward. There is a matching deadline at noon. Victoria's mouth tightened. Are you pressuring this branch? I'm explaining why time matters. Elena reopened the file. The verification number matches. I can call the issuing bank and complete the second review. No, Victoria said. Elena blinked. No? You will wait. The clock changed from 10:41 to 10:42 with a soft mechanical snap. Elijah rested 2 fingers on the counter. What are we waiting for? Victoria lifted the check toward the ceiling light, bending one corner. Ms. Sloan, Elena said, the security features are valid. Visible features can be copied. So can suspicion, Ruth said. No one answered. Victoria looked at Elijah. Where did you get this? I answered that. I'm asking again. And the answer has not changed. Noah emerged from the corridor. He saw the open profile and the original in Victoria's hand. What's happening? Large item review, she said. He leaned toward the screen. It appears ready for secondary confirmation. Victoria's gaze pinned him in place. Then let me handle it. Noah stopped. Elijah checked his phone. Camille had called twice. Please make the call, he said. Victoria laid the check flat and covered it with her palm. No calls until I say so. Behind her, the printer started again, feeding out one blank page after another. The blank pages kept sliding from the printer until Elena stopped the job. Ms. Sloan, the account file contains the sale agreement. Print it. Elijah opened his portfolio and placed his license, tax records, land sale contract, and matching fund letter beneath the glass. This is the complete packet. Victoria read half a page. The buyer's signature is electronic. It was executed through counsel. The attorney's number is on page 4. Noah moved closer to Terminal 3. Elena, open the transaction history. She clicked. Years of deposits appeared, followed by the sale proceeds and creation of the Renee Grant Rural Nursing Fund. There's nothing inconsistent here, Elena said. Victoria tapped the counter. Call compliance. The speakerphone crackled. Tessa Warren, transaction review. Victoria spoke fast. Walk-in customer. $3 million instrument. Rural source. Incomplete explanation. Elijah turned. That is not what happened. Who is present? Tessa asked. Elijah Grant, account holder. Explain the source. Sale of agricultural land held by my cooperative. The contract, tax records, buyer confirmation, and certified check are here. Victoria said. The client became defensive. Ruth's cane scraped the tile. He answered every question. Victoria muted the call. Interrupt again, and I'll ask security to remove you. Ruth tightened her grip, but stayed. Noah scrolled lower. A gold banner appeared. Executive governance restriction. Authorized reviewers only. His finger hovered over the confirmation button. Elena saw it. What is that? Nothing relevant. It says governance. Close it. Noah did not move. The heating system clicked off. Elijah's phone vibrated against the counter. Camille's name flashed, then vanished. Tessa returned through the speaker. Complete secondary verification before any hold. Elena reached for the issuing bank number. I can do that now. No, Victoria said. Tessa paused. Why not? I'm escalating the profile. On what basis? Victoria glanced at Elijah's jacket, then at the waiting line. Unresolved concerns. Elijah folded the matching letter along its old crease. Name one. Victoria said nothing. One concern these documents do not answer. Noah's finger still floated above the screen. Sweat moved from his temple despite the cold air. Elena, he said quietly, log the documents as received. Victoria turned. But don't complete verification yet. For 1 second, Noah's finger lowered. Then he closed the window. The screen returned to an ordinary customer profile. Tessa's voice came through the speaker. Do not restrict the account without documented cause. Victoria unmuted herself. Understood. She ended the call. Elijah looked at the dark phone. You said you understood. I did. You did not say you would comply. Victoria gathered the papers, leaving their corners crooked. I'm placing this transaction under enhanced review. You were told not to. I was told to document my cause. What is it? Her fingers settled on the certified check. That, she said, is what I am deciding. The clock clicked to 10:56 as Victoria bent the check between both hands. Victoria pulled once. The paper resisted with a dry snap. For half a second, the lobby did not move. Rain ticked against the glass. Elijah's phone buzzed inside the leather portfolio beneath Renee's note. Then the check split. Elena inhaled. Noah's hand dropped from the keyboard. Ruth Coleman whispered, Oh no. Victoria held the halves apart. A valid instrument can be reissued after review. You did not review it, Elijah said. I protected this branch. You destroyed property. It is paper. Elijah's thumb found his silver wedding ring and moved over its edge once. He did not reach for the check. A man lowered his eyes. A woman near the deposit slips raised her phone. Elena came around the counter. Compliance told us to verify first. Return to your station. The security marks matched. Return to your station, Elena. Her shoes squeaked on the polished floor, but she stayed. Ruth struck her cane against the tile. You asked him to prove himself. He did. Victoria faced the guard desk. Calvin Boone rose slowly, touching the brim of his cap. Yes, ma'am? Escort this gentleman out. He looked at Elijah, then at the documents. Has he refused to leave? I am instructing him to leave. That wasn't my question. Victoria's face tightened. Do your job. Elijah's phone buzzed again. The clock read 11:03. He opened the portfolio. Camille's message glowed beneath 3 missed calls. The first applicants are here. Mom's chair is beside mine. His fingers stopped. Mr. Grant? Elena asked. He locked the screen. Please place both pieces in a clear evidence sleeve. Victoria gave a short laugh. Evidence of what? A decision. Noah looked towards the ceiling cameras. Victoria followed his gaze. This is internal. Ruth raised her phone. Not anymore. Stop filming! No. Calvin stepped around the desk but did not touch Elijah. Cold air pushed through the entrance as the outer door shifted in the wind. "Sir," he said quietly, "I need you to walk with me. Am I being removed because I broke a rule?" Calvin swallowed. "I was told to escort you." "That is not the same answer." No one in line moved. The coffee machine hissed. A phone rang in the back office and stopped. Elena took a transparent sleeve from a drawer and held it toward Victoria. "Give me the pieces." Victoria did not move. "Give them to me," Elena repeated. For the first time, Victoria's hand shook. She dropped one half onto the counter and kept the other between two fingers. Elijah bent, lifted the fallen piece, and laid it beside the sleeve. His wedding ring clicked softly against the marble. Camille called again. He watched her name pulse until it disappeared. Calvin opened the inner glass door. "Mr. Grant." Elijah lifted the portfolio. "The deadline is at noon." "You should have made an appointment," Victoria said. "No appointment could have corrected what you decided before I spoke." "Remove him." Calvin moved beside Elijah, leaving an arm's length between them. As they crossed the lobby, Noah reopened the profile. A red box filled the monitor. "Possible fraud." "Restriction pending." His hand froze over the mouse. "Victoria," he said, "what did you just file?" Noah turned the monitor toward Victoria. "Possible fraud." "Restriction pending." "You filed a hold?" "I flagged the transaction." "That freezes transfers." "It protects the bank." Elijah stopped beside the glass doors. "For how long?" Noah read the screen. "Up to 48 hours, unless compliance clears it." "My matching deadline is noon," Elijah said. Victoria folded her arms. "Then your organization should have planned better." Elena stared at her. "He brought every document." "And I found them insufficient." "You barely read them." Calvin kept one hand on the door. Cold rain pushed through the gap, smelling of wet pavement. Elijah checked his phone. 4 missed calls from Camille. A message waited beneath them. "Everyone is here. Should I tell them the fund is gone?" He read it once, then locked the screen. Ruth saw his fingers tighten. "Sir, I recorded what happened." Victoria pointed outside. "He's leaving." "No," Noah said. The word came too fast. He swallowed. "We should not remove him during an active review." "You closed the governance alert," Elena said. "Open it." Victoria's head snapped toward her. "Stay out of this." "I'm already in it." Noah returned to the terminal. His password failed once because his fingers slipped. The gold banner reappeared above the red restriction. Executive Governance Restriction. Authorized reviewers only. "There's a board-level designation," he said. Victoria stepped between him and the screen. "Call regional after he leaves." Elijah put the phone away. "You know enough now to stop." "I know a label appeared." "You knew enough before you tore the check." The printer hummed behind Elena, warming the air with a metallic smell. She placed both halves in a clear sleeve and wrote 11:03 a.m. across the seal. Victoria watched her. "You're creating evidence against your manager." "I am preserving a document." "Hand it over." "No." Rain tapped the windows. Ruth's cane squeaked against the tile. Calvin released the door. It shut with a heavy click. "I won't escort him until someone explains the basis," he said. "You are security." "I am not your excuse." Elijah looked at Noah. "Call compliance. Read the language on the screen." Noah dialed. Tessa answered on the second ring. "Transaction review?" "This is Noah Kim at Briar Glen Central. The profile shows an executive governance restriction. A fraud flag was entered after the instrument was destroyed." Silence crackled through the speaker. Who entered it? Victoria reached for the phone. Noah pulled it away. The branch manager. Do not alter anything else, Tessa said. I'm escalating to regional council. Victoria laughed once. For a system banner? For destroying an instrument after verification was ordered. Elijah's phone vibrated again inside the portfolio. This time, he did not open it. The clock changed to 11:11. Tessa's voice hardened. Mr. Kim, is the customer still there? Yes. Keep him there. Victoria stared at Noah. You have damaged this branch. No, he said, looking at the sealed sleeve. That happened at 11:03. Outside, a dark sedan turned into the lot, and Arthur Bell's name appeared on Noah's screen before the first ring ended. He can wait in his vehicle, Tessa said through the speaker. Do not let him leave the property. Elijah looked through the rain-streaked glass at the dark sedan idling near the curb. Arthur Bell had not stepped out. I'll be in my truck, Elijah said. Calvin moved first. I'll walk with him. No escort, just the door. Rain struck the awning in silver lines. Cold worked through Elijah's jacket before he reached the pickup. He set the portfolio on the passenger seat and listened to the heater fan cough warm air. His phone showed 5 missed calls. He called Camille. Dad? The library murmured behind her, chairs scraping and a microphone testing once. Tell me the truth, she said. Is the money there? Not yet. What happened? The transaction was stopped. Stopped or delayed? He watched Victoria's shape cross behind the windows. Delayed. We have 37 minutes. I know. People drove 3 counties to be here. Mom's name is on every folder. His hand closed around the steering wheel. The leather felt damp and cold. Keep them inside. Dad, I cannot hold a ceremony for a promise we may not keep. Someone asked where to place the applications. I'll call you back, Elijah said. Don't say that unless you will. He ended the call without answering. Inside the portfolio, beneath the matching letter, his thumb found an old audio file marked Renee. Thursday night. Her voice entered the cab with the faint pulse of a hospital monitor. Elijah, if this fund ever becomes real, don't make it about what happened to me. He closed his eyes. Make it about the woman who still has time. Promise me you won't spend your strength proving people wrong when you could use it to open a door. Cloth rustled near the microphone. And don't cancel something good because one person makes it hard. The monitor sounded once, then came 7 seconds of empty recording. Elijah's fingers would not release the phone. Across the lot, Ruth Coleman stood beneath a clear umbrella, photographing the bank entrance and the time on her screen. Calvin spoke to her, but she shook her head and took another picture. A knock touched Elijah's window. Elena stood in the rain without a coat. He lowered the glass. I copied the scan, she said. The check image, the call notes, and the first account screen. Does Victoria know? No. She will. I know. Water ran onto Elena's collar. She held out a receipt with a number across the back. This is my personal phone. If they lock me out, call me. Elijah did not take it at first. You could lose your job. I watched her tear $3 million in half because no one wanted to be first to say stop. You did say stop. After she pulled. That distinction remained between them. He accepted the receipt. Behind Elena, Noah appeared at the bank door and lifted one hand. Not a wave, a warning. The sedan's driver door opened. Elena stepped back. Mr. Bell is coming in. Elijah looked at Renee's frozen audio timer, then at the sealed doors. Save everything before he asks, he said. Elena ran inside as the dashboard clock changed to 11:23, and Noah reached for the system no one had yet managed to erase. Noah's password failed twice before the governance screen opened. "Come on," Elena whispered. A gold notice filled the monitor. Restricted board profile. Executive access required. Noah leaned closer. "This isn't a customer note." "What is it?" "A board designation." Victoria stepped from her office. "Close that screen." Neither moved. The sealed sleeve holding the torn check lay under Elena's hand. "Mr. Bell is outside," she said. "I can see that." "Then why are you changing the call notes?" Victoria's fingers stopped. "I'm correcting them." Noah turned the monitor toward her. "The fraud flag came after compliance told us not to restrict the account. I made a risk judgment." "You made it after destroying the instrument." Victoria lowered her voice. "Think carefully about what you say next." Noah looked through the glass. Elijah sat in his truck beyond the rain. Then Noah reached for the desk phone. Victoria pressed the cradle down. "You report through me." "Not on a board-restricted profile." He moved her hand and dialed the regional emergency line. While it rang, Elena opened the security archive. 4 camera angles appeared. "Export everything from 10, Noah said. "To where?" "The protected incident folder." "You are not authorized," Victoria said. Elena inserted an encrypted drive. "Then fire me after it copies." A green bar appeared at 3%. A woman answered. Noah gave his name and branch code. "I need Arthur Bell or board counsel. Immediate preservation issue." "State the issue." "Destroyed certified instrument. Unauthorized restriction. Concealed governance profile." "Do not disconnect." The bar reached 27%. Victoria pulled the drive halfway out. Elena caught it. "You'll corrupt the file." "Step away," Noah said. Victoria stared at him. "You think one phone call saves you?" "No, I think the record should survive us." At 49%, the feed froze on Victoria pulling the check apart. Ruth's raised phone was visible behind Elijah. "Keep copying," Noah said. The line clicked. "This is Dana Wells, counsel to the board." Noah straightened. "Ms. Wells, the account belongs to Elijah Grant." Silence. "Where is Mr. Grant?" "In the parking lot." "Is Arthur Bell there?" "His car is outside." "Speaker?" Noah pressed the button. Dana's voice sharpened. "No one edits a file, clears a log, removes a device, or leaves the service area. Lock the document room. Preserve every camera angle and workstation record." Victoria said, "This is being exaggerated." "Who is speaking?" "Victoria Sloan." "Step away from every terminal." The bar reached 76%. A printer clicked in back. The air smelled of hot toner and wet coats. Calvin locked the staff corridor and placed the key on the counter. "Done." Victoria looked toward the entrance. "Arthur will hear my side." "He should," Elijah's voice said from behind the glass. He stood beneath the awning, rain darkening his shoulders. The progress bar moved to 98% and stopped. Elena whispered, "Please." The outer door opened. Cold air swept through the lobby. 100%. She pulled the drive free as Arthur Bell stepped inside and saw the torn check. Arthur Bell stopped 3 paces inside the lobby. Rainwater ran from his coat onto the tile. His eyes moved from the sealed sleeve to Elijah, then to Victoria. "Mr. Grant, sir." Every face changed. Victoria gave a brittle laugh. "Arthur, there has been a misunderstanding." "Did you destroy that check?" "I acted on a fraud concern." "Did compliance authorize the restriction?" Noah looked down. "No, I closed a governance alert." The heating vent rattled. No one in line moved. Arthur set his phone on the counter. Dana, confirm Mr. Grant's status. Victoria stepped closer. Not in front of customers. Only what they need. Arthur nodded. Mr. Grant was the first private investor to recapitalize this bank 18 years ago. He is our largest individual shareholder and vice chair of the board. Victoria looked from Elijah's work boots to the torn paper. You never said. You never asked a question that required it. I asked who you were. You asked whether I could plausibly own $3 million. Arthur folded the wet coat over his arm, but forgot to release it. Water dripped from the hem. Sir, I can reverse the hold. Can you restore the deadline? Arthur checked the clock. 11:28. I can call the matching partner. That was not my question. No, Arthur said. I cannot guarantee it. Elijah opened his portfolio. Renee's folded note lay above the matching letter. My wife spent her last months designing a fund for rural nursing students. At noon, another $3 million disappears if this deposit is not confirmed. Victoria's voice fell. I did not know. You knew the documents were verified. Arthur turned to Elena. Can the issuing bank validate the instrument from the scan? Yes. I saved the certification number. Call them. Victoria reached toward the terminal. Calvin stepped between them. Ma'am, remain where you are. You work for me. Not during an evidence hold. Elena dialed. Noah reopened the transaction system under Dana's instructions. Arthur faced Elijah. We will make this right. If I had been a farmer with no board title, would you be standing here? Arthur took too long to answer. The coffee machine hissed. Tires whispered over wet pavement. No. Then do not make this about rescuing me, Elijah said. What do you want? Preserve every record. Contact the customers whose complaints this office closed. Put an independent reviewer here before anyone calls this a misunderstanding. Arthur finally released the coat. It struck the counter with a wet slap. Victoria's shoulders lowered. You want me removed? I want the truth protected before anyone decides what happens to you. Elena raised one finger. The issuing bank had answered. Yes, she said into the receiver. We need immediate certification on instrument 7714. Arthur called the matching partner. Noah printed the audit trail. Ruth sent her video to Dana while Calvin locked the document room. Elijah watched the clock change to 11:31. Then Elena's expression tightened. What is it? Arthur asked. She covered the receiver. They can validate the check, but the fraud flag has already reached the fund account. The printer behind Elena began producing a complaint history no one had intended to reopen. Noah caught the first page. These are closed cases. Arthur read the header. How many? 11 and 18 months. Victoria stepped toward him. Calvin moved between them. They were resolved. By whom? Elijah asked. Mostly by this branch. Dana's voice came through the speakerphone. Seal the records. Simone Price will conduct the review. Arthur called the matching partner. The instrument is verified and accepted. You have until noon. Elijah folded Renee's note around the cracked magnolia petal. His fingers missed the crease twice. At 11:51, the screen changed. Settled. Elena covered her mouth. Arthur sent confirmation. Camille answered Elijah's call on the first ring. Dad? It's funded. Behind her, chairs scraped. Are you coming? He looked at the sealed check and Noah holding the complaint pages. Not yet? Camille was quiet. Mom would understand. She usually did. Simone Price arrived 40 minutes later. 42. Compact. Her silver-framed glasses fogged by rain. No summaries. I want original logs, recordings, and every version of the notes. Victoria said, "You need context. I need timestamps first." Cold air moved over the conference table. Simone arranged the torn check, Elena's scan, Tessa's instructions, and Noah's audit trail in a line. On the monitor, Victoria's hand closed over the check. Pause. Simone read the time. 10:56. Compliance ordered verification at 10:49. Why was no call placed? Elena answered. Ms. Sloan stopped me. Mr. Kim? Noah stared at his badge. I saw the governance alert. And? I closed it. Why? Victoria watched him. Noah unclipped the badge and laid it on the table. His palm stayed over it. I wanted my next promotion more than I wanted to contradict her. The air vent clicked off. In the quiet, Ruth's video played, He gave you what you asked for. Simone advanced the footage. At 11:03, the check tore. At 11:04, Victoria entered the fraud flag. At 11:07, she changed documents supplied to customer unable to explain funds. That was a correction, Victoria said. It changed a verified fact into an allegation. Dinah opened the complaint files remotely. One described a contractor whose certified payment had been held after his documents cleared. Another involved a retired teacher questioned about her own savings. Ruth leaned toward the screen. That one was me. You told me the system was slow, she said. You never told me you marked my account. Simone opened case after case. Each ended with the phrase, customer concern resolved verbally. No interviews, no independent review, no preserved calls. Arthur sat back. How did audit miss this? The branch closed complaints before escalation. Elijah touched the sealed sleeve. Then today was not an exception. No one answered. Simone slid a blank statement toward Noah. You may revise your account once. He removed his hand from the badge. I don't need to revise it, he said. I need to stop hiding inside it. Outside, another printer started, releasing the remaining complaints one warm page at a time. At 9:08 the next morning, a black pen lay across the unsigned agreement. Dana Wells slid it toward Elijah. The bank will restore every fee, cover costs, and add compensation. Arthur added, The fund is secure. The ceremony happened. Elijah read the confidentiality clause twice. The room smelled of coffee. Pale light pressed against the blinds. And the complaints? He asked. They remain under review, Dana said. Publicly? This requires discretion. Then it requires my silence. It protects the institution while we correct the problem. Which problem? The destroyed check, Arthur said. Elijah glanced at the stack beside Simone. That is one page. Victoria sat at the far end without her branch pin. Dana leaned forward. You can accept compensation without abandoning reform. Then remove the clause. We cannot. Elijah pushed the agreement back. The signature line stayed white. No. At 9:24, Jerome Fields entered with a canvas folder. He was 50, broad-shouldered, with glasses on a cord, from the Community Financial Council. Are witnesses protected? He asked. Donna answered, They will be. Will be is not the same as are. Elena entered with Ruth and Calvin. Noah stayed by the door. Simone switched on the recorder. State only what you saw, heard, or did. Elena described the verified security marks, Tessa's instruction, and Victoria closing the file. Her voice caught when she mentioned the tier. Why preserve the records? Jerome asked. Because I thought someone might call it a misunderstanding. Ruth placed her phone on the table. He answered every question while the rest of us pretended not to notice what those questions were doing. Calvin rubbed the seam of his cap. I opened the door because I was told to. I did not touch him, but I still made the path. Noah spoke last. I saw the governance alert. I closed it because disagreeing with Victoria felt more dangerous than staying quiet. Simone turned to Victoria. Did Mr. Grant fail to provide any required document? No. Did compliance authorize a fraud restriction? No. Did you know the check had passed verification? Yes. The clock clicked to 10:03. Then why did you stop it? Victoria looked at Elijah's boots, then at the blank signature line. I decided the story did not fit the person standing in front of me. No one moved. A $3 million check, work clothes, no appointment. I believed the papers had to be wrong because he did not look like the owner I expected. Ruth's hand closed around her cane. Jerome removed his glasses. That expectation was not policy. No, Victoria said. It was mine. Elijah asked, if Arthur had not known my name? She waited several seconds. I would have called the flag justified. Dana closed the agreement. Simone placed an evidence label over the empty signature line. This document is withdrawn. A cart rattled past outside. Elijah put Renee's note, the complaint list, and the torn check sleeve into his portfolio. Arthur stood. What happens now? Elijah fastened the buckle. Now the people who were never called back get a room like this one. Jerome opened his folder and removed another list. There are more than 11, he said. Jerome spread 12 complaints across the table. Different branches? Arthur asked. 3 from this one, 9 from neighboring counties, all closed with the same language. Victoria read the first page. Her branch pin was gone, leaving 2 small holes in her blouse. Simone gathered the files. The review is no longer limited to one transaction. Dana's phone vibrated. She listened, then stood. The committee has reached its decisions. Noah's badge lay beneath his palm. Donna faced Victoria. Your employment is terminated for destroying a financial instrument, falsifying the service record, and repeated procedural violations. The fluorescent lights hummed. Victoria nodded. May I collect my things? Under supervision. And speak to Mr. Grant? 1 minute, Elijah said. Victoria entered her office with Calvin at the door. She packed a certificate, spare shoes, and a cup of pencils. The room smelled of citrus and hot toner. Her badge remained at the center of the bare desk. She held out a folded sheet. I wrote this before the committee called. He did not take it. It is not a request to change their decision. I know it does not restore yesterday. What does it say? That I saw documents and treated them as obstacles to what I had already decided. I heard every correction and called it defiance. I also wrote that I am sorry. Elijah accepted the letter and placed it unopened in his portfolio. Will you forgive me? I don't know you well enough to promise that. Then why take it? Because an apology can be true before it is enough. Victoria picked up the box and left the badge behind. In the conference room, Dana turned to Noah. You are removed from management. You may remain employed under a 12-month corrective program without supervisory authority. Noah unclipped his lanyard. I understand. You will give a recorded account during staff training. His answer came late. I understand that too. Dana looked at Elena. You are protected under the reporting policy. No retaliation or reduced hours may follow from preserving the records. Arthur slid a letter toward her. We are offering you interim leadership of an independent customer response unit. Elena stared at him. Because I did the right thing once? Because you documented it while others tried to erase it. I was late. So were the rest of us, Arthur said. Do not build a department around what happened to me, Elijah said. Build it for the person whose name no executive recognizes. Elena folded the letter. Then I accept on one condition. Which is? Complaints cannot be closed by the branch named in them. Jerome nodded. Write that down. By late afternoon, rain had cleared. Sunlight exposed dust on the empty shelves. Noah carried training files downstairs as Elena sealed complaint boxes. Elijah paused beside Victoria's desk. The abandoned badge caught the light but gave no reflection back. Arthur joined him. The board meets Monday. We can approve compensation and end this. Elijah closed the portfolio over Victoria's letter. Monday is when we begin. He pointed to the blank wall beside the teller windows. That is where the new rules should be visible to everyone. At 8:30 Monday morning, Arthur Bell taped the first draft of the new rules to the blank wall beside the teller windows. The paper curled at the corners. It looks temporary, Elena said. It is temporary, Arthur replied. Elijah stood near the entrance with his portfolio under one arm. Then customers will assume the promise is temporary too. Arthur removed the tape. Upstairs, 12 directors faced Jerome Fields, Simone Price, Dana Wells, and Dr. Leah Porter, 45, an independent banking ombudsman with cropped gray curls. Dana projected the proposal. Mandatory second review before any large transaction is restricted, as automatic preservation of disputed account logs. No branch may investigate a complaint against itself. A director frowned. That will slow service. Leah turned one page upside down. Slower than 18 months of hidden complaints? We cannot design policy around one incident. Simone set the complaint boxes down. There are 23. Elijah said, one manager made the decision. The system rewarded everyone who helped her keep it quiet. Noah sat without his badge. Elena sat 3 chairs away. Arthur asked, what else? Elena unfolded a page. Protected reporting outside the chain of command. A tracking number customers can follow. Edited notes must preserve the original wording. Noah added, anyone who closes a governance alert should state why. I closed one because I feared my supervisor, he said. The system let fear look like judgment. Leah crossed out management discretion. Use documented criteria. Discretion without a record becomes memory, and memory protects the powerful. At 11:12, the board approved every measure. The bank contribution to the Renee Grant Fund is $500,000, Arthur said. Communications wants a press event. No banners, Elijah said. It would advertise your repair. What do you propose? Donna asked. Transfer the money. Publish the rules. Call every customer whose complaint was closed. Let the work be visible before the bank is. Downstairs, workers mounted acrylic notices beside every teller station. A drill whined. Fine dust settled on the marble where the check had fallen. Elena read the final notice aloud. Every customer has the right to a documented second review before a disputed transaction is restricted. Ruth tapped the sign. Large enough for everyone? Larger than the rate board. Good. Noah carried training boxes through the lobby and stopped beside Elijah. I thought losing the title would be the worst part. What was? Realizing how often I mistook silence for professionalism. Elijah adjusted the portfolio strap. What you do after realizing it matters more. At 4:40, Arthur handed him confirmation that the restored $3 million and the bank's contribution had reached the fund. Elijah called Camille. It's done, he said. This time, he watched late sunlight catch the notice. This time, it stays done. Before leaving, he pressed Renee's note against the acrylic long enough to smooth its crease, then returned it to his pocket. 6 months later, One chair at the rural library would remain empty, and the first scholarship recipient would be sitting beside it. 6 months later, the rural library smelled of old paper, floor wax, and coffee warming in silver urns. Camille moved between folding chairs, straightening scholarship folders. On the front table, a card bearing Renee Grant's name rested on an empty chair. A dried magnolia petal lay across it. "Leave that one," Elijah said. "I wasn't moving it." "You were thinking about it." Camille smiled. "You still notice too much." Near the windows, Mara Lewis, 24, held her acceptance letter with both hands. She had worked night shifts at a diner while finishing prerequisite courses and now stood beside the first class of adult recipients. "I thought the call was a mistake," she told Elijah. "So did the bank." Mara laughed, then covered her mouth. "Sorry." "Don't be." Across town that morning, Victoria Sloan signed the paperwork ending her employment. She did not appeal. The independent report stated that she had destroyed a valid instrument, altered records, and ignored required verification. Her handwritten apology remained folded inside Elijah's portfolio, neither displayed nor discarded. Noah Kim attended his 4th training session without a management badge. When a new employee asked why every closed alert required a written reason, he answered before the instructor, "Because silence can look like approval in a system." Elena Ruiz now led the customer response unit from an office with no frosted door. Ruth Coleman served on the community review panel, where her first question was, "Did anyone call the customer back?" Calvin Boone had rewritten the escort policy and required employees to state what rule a customer had broken before asking security to intervene. At 5:40 p.m., Arthur Bell opened the ceremony with no banner behind him. "The bank's public report is available at every branch," he said. 23 complaints were reopened, 7 customers received corrected decisions, and disputed files are now reviewed outside the branch involved. He stepped away from the microphone. Camille called Mara forward. The room filled with the rustle of coats and paper. Elijah stayed beside Renee's empty chair. Mara accepted the certificate, then turned to him. "What should I remember when this gets hard?" He glanced at the worn portfolio by his feet. "Ask for the second review," he said. "And keep your papers." Afterward, families crowded around the recipients. Elena handed out complaint tracking cards. Noah stacked chairs in the back. Ruth pressed a cookie into Calvin's hand because, she said, nobody trusted a man who refused dessert. Camille found Elijah near the window. "Do you ever read Victoria's letter?" "Once." "And?" "She told the truth after it cost her something." "Is that enough?" "No." Camille waited. "But it is more than pretending nothing happened." She rested her hand on Renee's chair. The magnolia petal shifted in warm air from the vent, but did not fall. Before leaving, Elijah opened the portfolio. Inside were the apology, Renee's note, and a clean photocopy of the once-torn check. He placed the scholarship roster between them. Outside, the rain had stopped. The parking lot reflected the library lights, and the first recipients walked into the evening carrying folders against their chests. Elijah turned off the lamp beside the empty chair. The petal stayed. Have you ever watched someone be dismissed because of how they looked, dressed, or spoke? Tell us in the comments what happened and whether anyone chose to step forward. Share this story with someone who believes dignity should never depend on status and that justice means changing the process, not only correcting one public mistake. Subscribe for more stories about fairness, quiet resilience, difficult accountability, and ordinary people whose courage forces powerful systems to change. Your support helps these stories reach viewers who may need the reminder that speaking up matters, even when it comes late. And if one moment stayed with you, tell us which one. Sometimes the detail we cannot forget is the reason we refuse to remain silent next time.